everyone. This is Dylan Kimlin, and I'm coming with you with my new tournament review, format for this year. I'm going to be partnering up with Mismo to essentially provide a very short content, little review for essentially every tournament that I look at for this season. Now, I'm setting myself a pretty high bar here because I'm at just about every major tournament in the country. But I figured it's something that's lacking in our space. So we all know what short form content is. So when you're scrolling through social media, quickly see a little video on just the news, like we all do it. This is what I intend to do with this sort of footage. So essentially, each event I go to, I'll be looking at, the results, sort of how the tournament was. Because if you might not have been able to attend that event, but you want to see how your family and friends went, you may just want to know the results. This is a little opportunity, a little snippet that you can just take a look. So it'll be very short. But working with Mismo, absolutely incredible products that they provide. They've been involved in the pickleball space for quite a while now. Their recovery creams, their magnesium products, MSM products are absolutely, they're the gold standard for the pickleball space. So definitely have a look if you have not at their wares. Now, my first review of 2024 is the Wellington Pickleball Cup. So if you don't follow me on social media, my Facebook page, Dylan Kimlin Commentary and Broadcasts, and my YouTube channel, Live with DK, as well as my Instagram page as well, I've been flooding it essentially with news from the New Zealand space. So definitely chuck those a follow if you have not already. But going over to Wellington for my first international event as a commentator, as well as the first tournament of the year for myself as a broadcaster. Obviously, I worked on the Redcliffe Rumble, but that was more of a tournament director-ish, scorer, everything kind of point of view. But the Wellington Pickleball Cup was an absolute pleasure to be a part of. The play was outstanding, as well as the general vibe of the tournament. Now, some of you OGs that have been watching, you might not. There's been a subtle change in tournaments, and I have mentioned this in the past. In that we're very, very formal now, very structured, and that's not a bad thing. Make that abundantly clear. We need that. The Wellington event was a humbling experience because it reminded me of tournaments of the past in Australia. We had that real community aspect. We had mass amounts of giveaways. The fans and the people that attended were, they were so involved, and it was really nice to be a part of. Granted, there were some scheduling mishaps that occurred. That happens in basically every tournament. Anyone that's been a tournament director or volunteer would understand what I'm referring to. But by the third day, everything was absolutely smooth. We had, two of the best from the organisational point of view from Australia go across. David J from the referees side of things went across and did a level 1 and a level 2 referees course with the New Zealand space, as well as Tony Sarton, superstar herself. I know she's getting heavily involved in tournament directing this year. Anyone that's looking at getting advice regarding tournaments, definitely reach out to her. She's going to quickly make a name for herself as one of the best in the country. So on top of that, we had the Wellington committee sort of running it. I have to give a huge shout out to Chris, Paula and the team. The work they put in, it was incredible. It was inspirational. In fact, I saw firsthand their committee just really come together as a big family and just work the tail off to provide an experience for the community that, from what I saw as someone who was just walking around, everyone enjoyed it. They had a good time. We had all manner of things happen externally that affected the tournament. We had flights not turn up due to the crazy wind in Wellington. I'm sure you all know what I'm referring to. But and that's like a tournament director's worst nightmare when you have a large portion of players not being able to attend because of environmental reasons. However, Chris and the team, quite literally battened down the hatches and got it done, and it was amazing. Besides that, we had a wide variety of players. They rank their divisions differently from Australia. So they have supers, which is your 60 plus category. They have your B grade, which is your 3.5, and then open category as well. So it took me a little bit to get adjusted to the different division names, I suppose. But all three had absolutely incredible sets of games. Like the New Zealand space, I feel, is really not that far behind Australia. In fact, I said multiple times, I probably liken it to the Victorian space a little bit, just where they're at from that particular tournament. Obviously, I haven't seen the various other regions and sort of where they're at. I know we had multiple players from different regions of New Zealand come across, and that's because of the Wellington Pickleball Cup formula. So my understanding was that each player, they sort of represented a region, and then their results would go into a big tally, and then that team would sort of essentially win. Ironically, Australia ended up taking the victory. However, that was because we were all considered as one region. We had a huge group from Tasmania, quite a few Queenslanders, people from New South Wales, etc. I think next time around, they will categorise it into Queensland, New South Wales, because having us all as one big team, we just had a lot of numbers. And that's, yeah. So the play was really, really good. I covered a wide variety of games, and you can catch all of that on the YouTube channel for the Wellington Pickleball Club. So if you go on the live tab, you can see all of the footage there. Covered a heap of games, had a heap of guest commentators as well. Very thankful to have had Caitlin Carter from Pickleball Stuff New Zealand hop on board. They're essentially like the big distributor of pickleball equipment in the New Zealand space. Had Matt Carter as well, so Caitlin's husband, captain of the New Zealand Hustle for the Major League Pickleball Australia. He gave it wonderful insight on sort of the New Zealand space, where it's heading, and, who better to learn from? Matt's been involved in the space for a long time. On top of that, we had Chris and Paula Duffy from the Wellington Pickleball Club jump in, so it's always good to get sort of a tournament review from, where they're at, as well as Jordan Halliday, who, if you're watching, I think you may have a career in commentary. You're a natural. You just talk a lot. Now, regarding results, so I'm going to pop it up as we go along. I'm just going to use the Pickleball Brackets page because I think here in Australia anyway, we need to just start getting in the habit of looking up at brackets as we go along. So as you can see up from here, I've got the men's events to begin with. The main ones that I covered, I don't believe I did the 3.5 division for this particular event, so I can't really comment on it. However, I did do the doubles open and the 60 plus and above. So I'll talk about the 60 plus and above to begin with. So I was fortunate enough to watch Van Burden and Bishop in one of the earlier games. They played quite well deserved of their bronze medal. The game between Ware and Simpkins and Hendricks and O'Hare, it was pretty close. I think in the end, Ray and Martin, just through experience, ended up getting it done essentially. I know I spoke to Martin Simpkins a little bit. Obviously, I refer to him as Scud due to his very high velocity serves. However, he was saying that because we were using the Onyxes on an indoor surface with the wooden basketball surface, he couldn't get as much topspin as he would have liked. But regardless, well done to those gentlemen getting it done anyway. For the men's doubles open, I covered. I don't believe I saw Fowler and Pearson play. I don't think so. However, I did cover the gold medal game between Halliday, Robertshaw, Carter and Wilson. The playstyle from Halliday and Robertshaw was very, very fast. Now, I'm not saying they were bangers. They were constantly up in the net. Solid dinking, I might add, from Carter and Wilson. However, I think the aggression from Halliday and Robertshaw was just outstanding. I mean, I called Jordan Halliday in the broadcast as essentially dubbed him the Ernie Prince. Obviously, Tan Huynh here in Australia is the Ernie King, but this young man was going for it every opportunity he had. So, Tan, you might have some competition in this regard. But the main person I want to talk about here is Connor Robertshaw. He was absolutely elite this event. He nearly got the Triple Crown, ended up bailing out in the mixed. So, I think he is definitely one to watch for the Major League Pickleball Australia this year. I swear he's grown like a foot taller since I covered him in the Queensland Pickleball Championships last year. But just absolutely unreal. Like his athleticism and his pace of the ball. Yeah, for you other PPL and MLPA players, you really need to watch out for how well he can play. For the men's singles, Robert Shaw once again took the gold. Now I have to give a big shout out to Will Dewhurst. I know he's been involved in the New Zealand and Wellington space for a long time, like probably longer than a lot of us Australians. Played incredibly well, and I think Dewhurst would definitely be on the cards as someone that, if you're considering drafting players later on, in the next season or whatnot, Will Dewhurst is definitely a name to be looked out for. Has a lot of experience, played singles incredibly well. It's just that Connor Robertshaw's just on another level right now. We saw last year Lucas Pascoe sort of took over the country with his play style. I can see similarities with Connor, if I'm being dead honest with you all. For the 3.5, I did cover the start of Callender and Walmsley's game. However, it was like 10:30 at that point in time, and the venue essentially told us we needed to move on. And big shout out to the venue, by the way. The staff did incredibly well. So Callender obviously got it done in the third game. The two games that I did cover between both of the gentlemen, Michael Walmsley was literally diving everywhere like Superman. So I hope he's not hurt or anything. I know he cramped up big time in that game, but that was a very entertaining game, and no doubt we'll see these gentlemen participate in the Opens categories as we go along. Now, for the mixed, I covered everyone. So we'll talk about 60 and above to begin with. So the gold medal between Ray and Jenny and Jill and Phil was really, really fun. I know I did mention it that I think in the end, Ellis's lobbing actually caught Jenny and Ray off a little bit. Jenny and Ray Ware, if you don't know who they are, incredibly experienced duo here in Australia. And they were just a little bit off. I know how well both of them can play, and I know they'll bounce back in the next tournament. For Jill Norman, Matt Carter, when he was commentating, he said she is, the gold standard for the seniors division in New Zealand. She frequently wins all podiums at minimum. So no surprise to see her getting up there. It was lovely to chat with Phil. He said his daughter was watching all the broadcasts and was cheering him on. So that was, so nice. That's why I do this, by the way. It's just for that exact reaction. For the B grade 3.5, I had Dasher and Gavin on versing Romy and Brett, and let me tell you how nice that was. So I had Romy and Brett on for a brief interview before we started the tournament. They're both from Tasmania. I believe this was Romy's first tournament, young 17-year-old lady coming out and taking the gold medal with her dad. That's just peak pickleball right there. It's why we play, right? So those two played incredibly well. Brett, I'm going to give you a shout out, mate. You're elite. You're running around like crazy. Solid dinking, very fast athletic play. Dasher, I will see you when we're in the Tasmanian Open in a couple of weeks' time. And no doubt I'll probably see you as well, Gavin. I believe you're from Hobart. So that there was a full Tasmanian battle for the gold. Fantastic effort for you guys. For the Mixed Doubles Open, this was a husband-wife battle between the Carters, and we had Dewhurst and Fowler getting involved as well. I will say that Fowler definitely got targeted a bit. I can feel Matt got frozen out a little bit, and I have to give a big shout out to Katrina. Like, her dinking and resetting was phenomenal, considering Caitlin Carter was on another level for this event. I mentioned Will Dewhurst absolutely tearing it up. One to watch. If you're looking for a female player, definitely have a look at Caitlin's work. She was unreal. Very aggressive, she was initiating the speed ups. For a female player, I know here in the Australian division, this is what some people are keeping an eye out for. So that was a very, very fast-paced game. No Fowler and Matt Carter were definitely more on the defensive end, and it just simply came down to Kaylin and Will's offense just got the job done. So very entertaining game there. We had a full grandstand for that one. Very loud. It was good to see. For the women's doubles, I covered the gold medal for the Open and the gold medal for the seniors. I didn't do the 3.5, which is a shame because I would have loved to have covered Ali Wheatley. She's incredible for the Tasmanian space and all the work she's done there, as well as Dasher again. So for the 60 and above, I mentioned Jill Norman earlier in this broadcast. She absolutely tore it up once again. That was against Ma and Dole. I thought Ma and Dole played quite well, considering Jill Norman, I feel, she's on another level when it comes to the seniors space. She just played incredibly well deserved of her efforts here. For the Women's Doubles Open, I had Glenna Salt, Sal Buckley, the superstars from the Sunny Coast space, taking out the Women's Doubles Open. This was a very fun game, actually, because they were up against Gregory and Hawaii Karangi. The New Zealand ladies played very well. Like anyone that knows Glennis and Sal, that, I said it in the past, but I feel Glennis is probably in the top 10. She's probably polled the most medals in Australia, like across the country, because she's been in the sport for so long. So I did say that to a couple of the viewers that were watching, like, it was a fantastic effort that the New Zealand ladies put up a really good fight here. Sal seems to have she's playing a little bit more aggressive, which is, anyone that knows Glenna's play style in the past would know she was typically the more aggressive one, but it seems that has changed a little bit. So Sal was lights out, going for all sorts of aggressive shots, and as a result, they took the gold medal in that regard. For the women's singles, I covered all three of these ladies in various games. I feel like Caitlin Lund isn't too far off of it. Like, the more she plays, she will get better. As I saw her participate, I believe it was in mixed as well. The gold medal match was between Carter and Hall. Caitlin Carter absolutely tore it up again. I keep mentioning it, one to keep an eye out for. I was fortunate enough to have a brief, 5-minute singles game with Caitlin, and she promptly reminded me why I shouldn't be playing pickleball in jeans. But well done to Carter and Hall and Lund for taking the medals out in the singles division. That there will do it for this little review. You can catch all of the Facebook information for the Wellington Pickleball Cup on the page Wellington Pickleball Cup, as well as all of their YouTube footage will be available on the Wellington Pickleball Club, a YouTube channel under the live events tab. Please, I keep talking about the New Zealand space. Definitely one to be keeping an eye on. The Wellington Pickleball Cup next year, I believe, will become a massive tourist attraction for Australians coming across. I'm going to highly recommend it. If you are considering a pickleball holiday, this is one to go for. I've frequently mentioned the Yeppoon Pickleball Festival as well. Those guys are incredible. But if you're looking for an international one, why not consider New Zealand? They're just across the pond. Their accents are slightly different to ours, and they pronounce 6 a bit differently, as I found out calling the score many times. But overall, absolutely wonderful group, and their pickleball level, it was a genuine pleasure watching it and showcasting it as well. So we'll close it off for here, but please follow me on all of the various things you can see up on the screen, and we will see you at the next event. Thank you.